Hello and welcome back to my walkthrough to Final Fantasy 15. In the last episode we started chapter 7 after finishing off chapter 6, and now we're here up at the Vesproom area. And if you're wondering where on earth we're starting, we've made a short little trip down from the Capitis Haven, which is where we started. We've just travelled to here on our route towards where we actually need to head towards the Party of 3 quest, which is located here at the Staelith Grove dungeon. And just in the aims of expediency, I figured that we could stop here so I could pick up these.
What's what? I've come up with a new recipe.
As we get a new recipe for Ignis from picking up these Vesprooms, the final of the sort of mushroom. I think probably the last of the mushroom sort of items that we have. And then we're going to be able to just quickly take our chocobos over to where the quest is wanting us to go, which is located over here. So there's going to be a few sort of items for us to pick up, stuff like that, but there it is, the red and white striped car, the pretty flashy car of a very particular NPC that we know. Well, Arden is here, and Arden is going to be once again seemingly always where we don't want him to be.
Indeed.
So we'll take off our chocobo here as we are here, and now what we'll be able to do is head over here and speak to Arden to trigger the start of this quest as we get an Earth Gemstone.
Gentlemen, what a pleasant surprise.
Told you he'd be waiting.
With my Imperial friends, no less.
Splendid.
But fear not, I'll put in a good word. Well, come along then. Don't stray too far, lest you get left behind. And surely you'd rather avoid unnecessary scuffles, seeing as you're now a trio.
Oh, I love Arden. He's so great. I just love his voice. Like, there's just the voice actor does such a good job, sort of like having this
One we won't discuss.
intensely. You can tell he's just sort of
Here.
toying with you.
It can't be archaeology. Mythril, perhaps?
This guy's reading our thoughts.
And the
Mythril.
music
It's
for
a
Arden's theme
precious
is really
resource, you
nice.
see. We can't just let anyone get their hands on it.
But you'll help us get ours on it, right?
I never said that.
Of course you didn't.
Where is the fun in that? I thought you'd rather dig it up yourselves.
So here we are at the
I'll
Staelith
be but a
Grove.
moment.
A moment doing what?
Beats me.
All clear. Go ahead.
So here we are outside the Staelith Grove dungeon. We actually have 2 vendors, which we'll take attention to. But first, let's talk
the
to Arden
ever-wary
some more.
military. They'll not abide visitors left unattended. I must prevail upon you to accept an escort. I've seen to everything. Oh, did I ever tell you I'm the Chancellor?
We knew that.
But did you know the army and I are unaffiliated?
What?
It's true. I have no authority whatsoever. But what I lack in authority, I make up for in friends.
So, I just love Arden. He's so great. Anyway, so yeah, so we have 2 interesting stores here either side. So we have here a shop which sells lots of healing items, it seems, primarily just healing items, stuff like that. And then on the other side, we have actually a weapons vendor, and this has something in particular for us, namely the ability we can actually buy an ice spear here. So there are a few weapons throughout the game which are entirely which you can't get from like you can't just find them essentially, and you actually need to buy them. The ice spear is one of them, as is a few of the other things. So we will actually buy a few of these weapons. The ice brand we can actually find, but I believe hopefully. So we'll actually buy a couple of ice spears here, one for Noctis, one for Ignis. We already have some Assassin's Daggers, but we'll also get a couple of Rebellions, just because we have the opportunity to. We'll also get a Thunder Shield and a Flame Shield. All of these weapons are weapons that you can only get through purchases at various, at different weapons vendors. Not necessarily just this one, obviously just having this one, because I think this one is only available in this chapter. But there is another place where you can buy them, but particularly right now it's key getting these here. And now what we'll do is we'll look to our gear for Noctis, and rather than having the very, very weak javelin, we can now throw on an ice spear. And rather having the assassin's daggers, I think we'll go hard edge, because I think a fair few of the enemies that we'll be meeting in this next era will be weak to great swords. We obviously have the Blizzara spell. I do need to do some more elemency. The crown next to enhancement there shows that enhancement has actually been entirely leveled out, so that means we'll actually go back to Mark. We can keep with Star Shell, although Gravisphere is also very useful, but I think we'll keep with Star Shell for Prompto. We can go from Calamity now to Rebellion, and maybe have a Gravity Well instead of the Circular Saw. And instead of the Drain Lance, we want an Ice Spear. Instead of the Delta Daggers, we... yeah, I think Delta Daggers is better than the Assassin's Daggers, just for now. And then obviously, yeah, so that's that. And then if we go to Elemency, we definitely want to create some Blizzard spells, because the vast majority of the enemies in this dungeon are all weak to ice, oddly enough, hence why we're using Blizzard. And so what we're looking for is any spells that gives us quite a few like multiple casts. Like anything more than 3 would be really nice. So I mean that's a blast cast, Blizzard times 5. Smites with Blizzara, damaging the caster as well. That's quite interesting. We definitely don't want to use the Dynamo, because obviously I've mentioned before that the Dynamo is actually something we need for one of our quests. Kill casts, Blizzara, just some more Blizzaras. Tricast, Blizzara, Thundara. Cast Blizzara occasionally without expending a spell. That would be really helpful. Obviously, it would entirely be luck based. This one is actually Blizzarga, so, but again, we only have one of those quality building stones. I feel like we should just keep it just in case. So I think we'll actually go for a laser sensor. We actually get 4 casts, which is quite nice. Actually, if we increase the amount that we use, we actually get more and more casts. So maybe we'll go for that one, because that gives us 9 casts of Blizzarga, which is pretty awesome. And we will equip that right now. Okay, any other key things? I think that's pretty much everything we want to do. And now what we can do is we can go on and talk to Aranea, who has appeared after her brief cameo in the last chapter. Or the chapter, the last chapter, it was the last chapter.
So, you're the new recruits they sent over for special training. Nice cover, runaway prince.
So, Remain Silent gives us AP, Ask My Friends gives a bunch of experience to both Ignis and Prompto, so we'll remain silent once again.
At ease, recruits. There's nothing in it for this ex-mercenary to turn you in. Let's get this show on the road.
Show?
Forgot about your training? Well, I'm being paid to escort you. Just watch yourselves in there.
So Aranea joins the party.
Commodore Aranea Highwind, I leave them to you.
So there we see that Aranea is actually has the rank Commodore as well.
Search until sundown. Won't do you any good. If you're looking to get inside, you're gonna have to wait.
So we can actually go on to, if we actually go to gear, we can now see that Aranea has been added into the 5th slot of our party. She has High Wind. High Wind is amazing. We'll hopefully be able to use it at some point. And then a load of other rather interesting attire that we certainly can't. Unfortunately, we can't use, can't take off or anything like that. So these are 2 of Aranea's 2 henchmen, essentially, Biggs and Wedge. And we actually need to talk them.
We will.
We need to talk to these guys, because we need to wait until nightfall. So this, along with one of the other dungeons in the game, is only open at nightfall.
Hold down the fort.
You got it, Lady A.
We will.
And it only being open at nightfall leads to...
What kind of place was this?
it's useful, obviously,
Any idea,
because we
Ignis?
can actually
Gee, I wonder what
freely
happened to the
wait
locals.
till
Why
nightfall.
not head inside and look for him?
You know, freely wait till nightfall with the option there from Biggs and Wedge. But in other cases, when we return to this area, certainly right towards the end of the game in post-game sort of detail, that's when we'll really actually have to
Guys, look!
make sure our timing's on track.
The entrance?
What else could it be?
Bingo.
So, the entrance
Didn't
is
I
now
tell you
available to
there was
us because
something
it
not
is
quite right?
late at night.
Gotta follow your gut sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Aren't we eager?
The hell are you trying to pull?
It was an accident.
Those guys your friends or something?
You appeared to be on good terms.
Who? Biggs and Wedge? They're more subordinates than they are friends, but I trust them all the same.
So, we make our way.
Man, how far does this go?
Yet a ways still.
So, we make our way down this rather large stairwell.
Finally! I thought it'd never end. The people here... who left the lights on? Maybe the owners are still home.
No.
I doubt we can expect a warm welcome.
So, there's nothing in this area.
Just a load of nothing.
Again, obviously, we're getting lots of dungeon-specific and sort of, you know, scenario-specifics, obviously, you know, just for entering that room or whatever. Lots of dungeon-specific comments and stuff like that. And obviously, having Aranea in the party will allow her to give us a lot of information about some stuff that maybe we didn't necessarily know about with regards to the Empire and stuff like that. So it's well worth just sort of taking your time through this dungeon and just sort of having the chance to talk, let everyone sort of talk out and listen to what they all have to say. So our main enemies in this dungeon are these guys, little skeletons. They are weak to ice, and greatswords, or being strong against fire. So hard edge and the ice spear that we just got are going to be very useful to us here.
Stop knocked.
What can I say?
Not too shabby.
So if we head into here, you can see a treasure just there. But unfortunately, it's going to get crushed, obviously, by the falling rocks. There will be a way to access that treasure, but only once we get past a certain point within this level. If we head into here, there's another treasure.
Maybe this way?
I chromed it.
Just warming up.
And then we can start making our way back round.
This place has seen better days.
So basically, you could fall on our heads without warning.
Yeah, so watch your
So once again, we see another little rock fall there, as the guys are talking about. Just as the guys are talking about everything falling down on top of us.
No big deal.
Nice and simple. So again, so yeah, there is a path here being actually blocked, and the way we actually get access to that path is later on, once we defeat one of the a very specific enemy within this dungeon. So again, we're seeing a lot of enemies. We cast a nice strong Belizaga spell. So the Reapers, some of the more difficult enemies in this area. They are the only ones, they're pretty much the only ones that aren't weak to ice, which make them some of the most annoying enemies in the area, certainly, because obviously it'd be so much nicer if everything was weak to ice. With everything weak to ice, we could simply just cast ice spells all the time. As it is, we need to just be a little aware.
Look up.
If that's the water's surface.
Wait, what? Does this mean we're underwater? Whoa. There's even fish.
The hell is this place? Huh. Can we truly be submerged?
It does seem harder to breathe.
Like seeing a dream.
Gladio is seriously missing out.
Probably
this-
not his thing. No, you can never tell.
And this is why I love this dungeon so much. That is so freaking cool. The idea of being in an underwater city and yet at the same time not being underwater because you're not having to swim and all that. I don't know what on earth's going on. It's beautiful and sort of mystical and everything Final Fantasy about it because, you know, it's impossible and at the same time brilliant and beautiful. It's great. It's another one of the many highlights that this game has, in my opinion. So, we see new enemies, Crème Brûlées. These guys are really annoying. They're flan enemies, which obviously mean anyone who's done a Final Fantasy game knows that a flan type enemy is a physical sponge. So they take up all sorts of physical hits. We've met flan type enemies before. The Crème Brûlée is a specific type of flan. As we pick up the next of the Magic Flask series, so obviously we have many, you know, that's the next of the several magic flasks that we have. I don't know actually how many we have. Lots, I think is the correct answer. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we now have 9 magic flasks. But yeah, no. So the Crème Brûlées, they absorb both fire and lightning.
Something bothers me about this spot.
What is it?
Have we been this way?
Something overlooked?
Not 100% sure.
I like also that they give you like...
It'll hold you. Famous last words.
Just little comments about, like, you know, being lost and stuff like that also. But no, yeah, so the Crème Brûlées, you need to use ice magic in order to stop them.
Practicing your vows.
The army swore their oaths a long time ago.
The damage that we do with our weapons certainly, like, we are at a high enough level that the damage we do with our weapons is more than enough to take out the Crème Brûlées should we need to. But by and large, magic is so much easier. I think what we're just going to quickly do is we're just going to put that single Blizzara spell back on so we're not wasting all of the Blizzaga. Because it would be handy to have the...
And we're stuck harvesting them.
Specimens?
Demons.
So, RNA are giving us some more information about the Empire.
So what's all this about the army and demons?
What do you think it is?
Nice. I love gassing games.
There, Prompto, there. So, we see some more skeleton enemies.
Hey, watch it!
Should not take too much damage. So the skeletons can grab onto you, and obviously being demon-type enemies, they will
How's everyone?
Good.
chip away at your health with their attacks.
Chipper.
I love the way RNA says chipper.
Turns out the Empire makes weapons out of them.
Weapons?
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen your share by now. Something not quite right with the Empire lately.
It's not just lately.
True. Maybe it's time I left.
Really?
So we make our
What would
way
you do
further down.
If you left the army.
Whatever I want. I was a mercenary once. Maybe I'll round up my men and hunt demons for cash?
Well, that's, a heck of a plan. I think I could
So
handle
another
this
one
all
of
by
these small rooms leads to another group of enemies. And once more we can take these guys out with relative ease.
Impressive. Yep.
That's actually going to be completely useless because we finish off those enemies before Star Shell hits, but there we go. Oh no, there's one left. And down we go. Sweet.
What about the Empire strikes you as not quite right?
The Emperor and new High Commander, for starters. Then there's that charmer of a Chancellor. I really can't stand that guy.
So obviously there RNA is talking about Idalas, who's the Idalas is the Emperor. You've got the High Commander, which I'm assuming is Rathus, and then everyone's favourite Arden as the Chancellor. So we enter this next room, and so this brings up the sort of the third bit,
Is it safe?
or the new,
Not everything's
another
gonna-
slight mechanic in this.
What? Did something collapse?
So the way, what else also works in this particular dungeon is that these pathways will collapse under you as you sort of make your way round. But much like I mentioned that there was a way that we were eventually going to be able to these reapers are going to be hopefully we'll be able to deal with them last.
Mind if I finish this one off?
So if you're wondering what that sort of sphere in the middle is, that's Prompto using the Gravisphere.
A little late for that.
Or Gravity Bomb, I can't remember exactly what the name of the weapon is, but yeah, it's essentially
What's the idea?
these the purple spinning things around are sent out by the Reapers, I believe. And they're a pain as well. So the Reapers are weak to fire, so we could use the Blade of Brûlée for like really effective damage, but as it is, I think we'll just keep to the hard edge, just because it also hits the smaller skeletons as well. And down goes those two.
Let's keep moving.
So yeah, so obviously we have these pathways that are falling down, but also they will eventually be repaired, and that requires us to defeat one of the monsters within the dungeon. And we will be getting around to that pretty soon. So we need to head through here, and then
You smell
cycle
that?
round.
Smell what?
Treasure. The nose knows, dude.
Now that you mention it.
Let's not forget our purpose here.
The nose knows, of course. So another small battle with some. We can just nice and quick. Boom. And then. Stick some of our Blizzaga spells on. Is there anything around there? Don't think there is. Nope. So we can head up here into the next room. So obviously the pathway there broke down, and this is where we would have reached. And then what we can do is we can head through here. There will be more collapsing pathways. There. And there as well. So everything seems to be a bit rickety. But the way we need to head is this way, and if you continue to head this way, our pathway will be blocked.
Saw that coming.
To arms!
So, we have ourselves a battle with an Iron Giant here, along with some of his friends. Friends are particularly annoying to
Livelier
start
by the
off with.
second. Come on then.
But our massive Blizzaga spell should be able to do... Oh, we missed the parry there, which is slightly annoying. Seeing as we actually made the block. These are a lot of very slow and very deliberate attacks. We're doing more than enough damage, that should mean that he gets taken out pretty fast. Squeezing the living. Jeez, okay, so I've never seen that attack before, so actually I did not know that I'd be able to warp out eventually. So we'll just quickly take out that Crème Brûlée, and they, between them, have taken out the Iron Giant there. So yeah, no, some of the, obviously, along with the red giants that we've already, we fought some of those sort of like just as wild encounters as the demons. You know, along with those big iron giants can be right pain, but with enough sort of, you know, practice and sort of once you get used to the battle system, they can, you know, they obviously get much easier. So you notice that by killing that Iron Giant, we've actually triggered the walkways to mend themselves. We've done more than that. We've not just the walkways, but also those you know, collapses of the building earlier on onto various areas where there was potentially, you know, obviously potential good items. Those have also now been reset, and now we can actually head back there and actually find those items once more. Well, once more, I say, for the first time.
One shot.
And that's that.
So, we'll grab... First of all, we'll grab all of the items around this area. So we'll start off with a Mythril shaft, which alas is not enough Mythril for us to be able to go back and leave right now. No, we need more Mythril in order to
Never
suffice.
too many stairs. I got a bad feeling about this. Stairs they go on, forever they go on and on and on.
He's gone.
I don't think Prompto appreciates the amount of stairs that we climb. So there we go. Hopefully. I mean, one of the disadvantages, I guess, of using wait mode is that you can't sort of just run around. You can't just sort of stand still and wait for someone, you know, wait for parries and stuff like that. You do need to constantly be on the move, otherwise the game, you know, will just constantly be pausing. So here is actually a pathway that has not yet mended itself. It's a little annoying. And there's another. I believe once you fall down a specific path and then you climb back up, that path mends itself. That seems to be the pattern that I've seen.
Cut it out, man.
Because we're going to continually get the timed quests reminder, even though obviously... yeah, we won't be doing time quests for a fair while until sort of, you know, we want to be post-game by that point, because once you're post-game, you sort of actually have like the equipment and everything to actually successfully complete those quests. So you pick up a high elixir there. There's another pathway over there. That one's been remade. So I think what we'll do is we'll just quickly head through to the other room and see if we can't get those ones to rebuild themselves as well. I hear the rebuilding of a path. There we go. Ah, so those ticks are just the trapped floors, the floors that fall away. So there was one there. Was there another one in this room? I guess not. Has this one mended itself? Maybe it's on like a cycle. Well, either way, we actually need to return back here. What we're going to do to start off with, though, is we're actually going to head all the way back up to the top and actually collect those first few items that we missed at the start of this area. Hopefully, and I do say hopefully, and not anything for definite, but hopefully we will find that our path will not be blocked by battles with the demons. At least, hopefully, one of the ways. I mean, it may well be that by the time we've actually cycled all the way around, then those demons may well be, you know, returning. But we can hope that at least on the way back there, that we do not get interrupted by too many demon attacks. So we make our way back up to here. We proceed back along the very narrow pathway. Aranea could easily just jump across. I mean, we've seen how high she can jump, but she, you know, chooses to sidle along there with us. The game getting impatient with you and stuffing the enemies back, or, you know, bringing enemies back into the hallways that you've already done is very frustrating when it comes to certain pathways. So there you see the that rubble there being removed, and similarly in this part here, this rubble can be removed, and we can pick up this item, which is a Mega Elixir. So well worth coming back for. Those, you know, very high level healing items are not, you know, every day. You do definitely want to keep an eye out for them. So this is our new path. This new path will take us to a few, I think some accessories, if I'm not mistaken, as we pick up a phoenix down there. And then here is an elevator. And so the elevator takes us all the way down to the bottom, and we see a nice sort of inviting reward for us to collect. But in order to collect it, we need to fight off against another one of these iron giants, along with a couple new enemies, being these liches. Liches are much like the necromancers that we saw at the end of that we've battled in several areas before. They are weak to ice as well, so we will certainly fire off a nice strong Blizzaga spell here and take off a solid chunk of all of these guys' health. So we're going to just trigger Armiger here, as this is certainly one of the harder battles, at least. Certainly sort of being in a small confined room. And there we go, we land an Armiger chain as well, which is quite nice. To get some good strong hits against that Iron Giant, and down it goes.
Save the coffee for later.
Something to look forward to.
Ignis already talking about his coffee. There we go, and all of that for a Sapphire Bracelet. So if we check our gear, Sapphire Bracelet raises strength by 45, so should be pretty powerful, I'd have thought. Yeah, so sort of like the step up from the Heliodor Bracelet, which we currently have.
Right.
So with that being done, we'll now head back down through the dungeon, hopefully collect that final missing treasure, and then what we can do is we can head down towards the final boss of this area, and the final boss is a really cool one. I really enjoy the final boss fight of this particular dungeon. And it all just rounds off this really pretty damn cool chapter. So we shuffle along once more. To be honest, it will depend on how long the boss lasts for. Hopefully, at some point, we'll also be able to show off Aranea using High Wind, because it's really powerful. And obviously right now we're pretty over leveled. We're level 39, I believe. I think the expected level is probably around high 20s, maybe low 30s. So we are over leveled. But hopefully we can have one of these battles will last long enough that Aranea can step in and use her ability, because it's pretty awesome. Okay, so that's that. We can now zip through these remaining rooms. We'll see if this pathway is open to us. Nope, still not. Don't know how to... Don't know. Maybe I do need to fall down in order for this one to actually, you know, open back up to us. But it's just one item, and I'm pretty sure the item itself is not that important to us. So just in the interests of, you know, keeping things fast, we will quickly make our way forwards into the next room. We see some more creme brulees. Anything else? Another Reaper. 2 Reapers, 2 creme brulees, 1 Blizzard spell to take out some of those. Oh, come on. We should have... Is that 3 Reapers now? No, that's Scarlet. So let's just send up the Star Shell from Pronto.
This is no time for a nap.
And Ignis comes over and heals us, which is quite nice. And we can deal with the damage. There we go.
Let's keep moving.
So, with those guys down, we can now travel down. And we have a relatively large battle now across this large bridge.
Right.
We'll see all of the enemies that, you know, so far have sort of attacked us throughout this route. So we see the skeletons, the Reapers. I think we'll also get some, probably some creme brulees down the other end. There they are. So I'm just going to try and get everyone into sort of around the same area before firing off a nice strong Blizzard spell. Boom.
Here goes nothing.
Yeah, beautiful parry there, and down they all go. The added power of our ice spells is really helping right now. But there obviously isn't going to be any rest for us. I'm sure there'll be a fair few more battles before we reach the end of this area. So, nothing behind us. So that is a warp tile, apparently, according to the map.
Crossroads.
That may well not be active until we actually return.
We knew that.
Well, guess we bumble on.
Keep the bumbling to a minimum.
So we'll head down the next little pathway. We can head in here for a talisman, which I think is an accessory we haven't yet gotten. And then we see another group of enemies, this time some skeletons. So that sort of small purple projectile attack that they have does actually do a lot of damage. Oh, there's RNA just came along and
How's
destroyed
everyone?
them.
Good.
How about you?
Just chipper.
So, we'll continue. Well, nothing down there. Another warp tile, it looked like. Probably get another battle.
Really?
Yep.
Again?
That's good. Take out those guys. And down goes the Reaper. Beautiful. So we take out the Reaper. We now have, I think... one more battle. And it looks like we actually have some Liches here, which could be a pain if we're not careful. Try and line them up for a Blizzaga if we can actually lure them in.
Lift a finger here.
I like how Ignis is constantly like, RNA, you don't need to do all the work. And it's like, you do realise she's like a Commodore of the... Ouch. These Liches. Ouch. So just quickly elixir up.
Watch out! On top of it!
So take out the last one of those guys. There we go. Lovely.
Watch out!
So let's see RNA in action. We'll set up High Wind.
These bastards keep getting stronger.
And down she comes.
Gotta nip the danger in the bud. The Empire's no exception.
Yeah, right on. Couldn't have said it better myself.
So there you have it, the sort of a strong attack that RNA can use. It does a lot of area of effect damage as well, so any monsters caught in that area of effect will would take quite a lot of damage. And definitely, depending on your level, it can be definitely a crutch that you can use to get through this if you're struggling through this particular dungeon. You know, turn to RNA. She has very, very good stats. She's very high, much higher level than I think all of us are pretty much. So yeah, use her. You know, she's incredibly useful. So we'll quickly absorb some of these. So you'll notice that obviously we actually have the because we're using the engine blade, we actually absorb some of the fire energy from those Crème Brûlées, which means our fire is not maxed out. This next boss, and that is exactly what it will be a boss battle we're coming up with, is immune to electric, if I remember correctly, so we want to keep away from electric, pretty much. So what we'll do is we'll go for maybe a Stopcast. Stopcast Blizzard at level 99. So there we go. And we can equip. Now we don't want to equip it, not yet. We still have our Blizzaga spells. Our Blizzaga should still be more than useful enough to actually get us through this next battle.
Oh,
so you can just see our...
There's so gonna be a big nasty here.
The bigger they are, the harder they
You can
fall.
just see our monster just in the distance.
Show it. Okay. Yeah.
I love this boss. I love this. This is just the great finishing boss to this whole chapter of this game of chapter 7. So here we have it. The Quetzalcoatl, giant flying enemy, obviously weak to firearms and daggers and ice, which is why we bought the ice spear. Primarily why we bought the ice spear. We're going to start off with a massive Blizzaga spell for 9,999 damage before pummeling this guy with the ice spear. And the other great thing about the ice spear is that it's one of the few, along with, normal swords, one of the few swords that can actually, one of the few weapons which we can actually use while trying to stay in midair, using air stab. As we get ourselves a Scarlet Splinterbone by breaking that wing. So obviously does a lot of damage, as you'd expect as a boss. We're not just going to sit back and let us pummel away at it for absolutely nothing. So yeah, guy absorbs electric, so don't use electric. we can see that we're doing huge amounts of damage, and we very, very quickly will take him out. RNA does lots of damage. I believe Ignis is probably doing a lot of damage there because he also has the Ice Spear. You even actually heard at the end that I think we're about to get a summon as well, but so you may well also get the chance to summon to finish off the enemies there, and summons are also always cool, always a nice way to finish off a battle. But there it is. There is our result, our reward for getting through all the way. We get the Mythril ore.
That concludes our business here.
Say, Commodore,
Aranea,
you said the Empire uses demons to make weapons?
listen, you've seen Magitech troopers, right?
MTs.
They're born from demons, in a lab.
Born from demons.
Darkness is coming. If I were you, I'd watch my princely ass. Kingly ass.
Will do.
So there we have it. We can now return to the entrance quite safely to finish off the primary sort of mission of Chapter 7. So, fortunately I didn't quite get to read all of that about RNA. We might want to pause the video just to see what the game has to say about RNA. That being done here.
Congrats. That concludes your training. You've still got a hard path ahead. But don't let anyone tell you how to walk it.
You may have been hired under false pretenses, but your assistance was invaluable, all the same.
Tell me something I don't know. You can spare the pleasantries.
Take care walking your path, Aranea.
Oh, right. Thanks. I will. And I'll train you some more if our paths cross again. Oh, and before I forget, His Excellency instructed me to give you boys a ride back. If you need a lift, feel free to hop on.
Well, glad that's over with.
Noct, I have just received word from Cindy.
And?
We're to return to Lestalum. Her friend works as an engineer at the power plant. She'll take care of the Mythril.
Uh-huh. And that'll take care of our boat problem.
Once you're rested and ready, I suggest we hasten back to Lestalum. Make sure you're prepared.
So there we have it. We are now ready to
Shame to say
finish
goodbye to such
off
a nice
this
fishing
episode.
spot. Want to see what's biting before we bolt?
And we may well do some fishing at the start of the next episode, but that is indeed for the next episode. We have completed our first run through the Staelif Grove. I think it's... Tell me it's Staelif Grove. We've completed our first time going through this dungeon here at Staelif Grove, yep, and that is going to be it for this episode. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode of my walkthrough of Final Fantasy XV, and I hope you will join me on the next.